Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
Susan Miller has joined us again. We've been getting every time we do a podcast, an interview, I get such positive feedback. I posted today I was going to be interviewing Susan, and I know, Susan, you shared it. I got so many messages on Instagram, so many replies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Oh, thank you.
oh, you're welcome. So we're going to there's so much I want to talk about: eclipses, moon sign, Chiron, everything. But before we get into that, I just want to give a shout out and congratulations on your fireside chat.
Oh,
That
it's such a new technology. It's TV, not on your TV,
yeah, exactly,
but
yeah.
on your telephone, on your actual iPhone, or Android, or your tablet, or your computer. And it's 2 hours long, no commercial breaks, but it is subscriber supported. So it's $25 for a month, and you get 2 shows, and they're 4 hours altogether, 2 hours each. Or if you buy a whole year, the cost goes down to $20 a month, $240 a year. And really, it's so nice. I love it so much. I'm amazed. I've only done 2 shows so far, but I get to talk to my readers. You know, people raise their little hand, and we're keeping a list of all the signs, but we're doing them randomly, and we check them off. And my producer might say, "Oh, we need a Taurus. Does the Taurus have a question?" And then once I get everybody, then I go back in and do more. But I always have a theme in the beginning, and I'm in the middle of my Eclipse Watch series, because we are in a month with 2 big eclipses, and they really are the points of the year where everything rotates around. When I write about the year ahead, I always look at the eclipses first, because those are the ones you really notice them. So I'm sure if you have listeners today, they're saying, well, this was some week.
Oh yeah, the messages I've been getting on Instagram, a lot of them are all about the eclipses, and which we're gonna get into. But prior to that, I will say, people, you should check out Susan Miller's Fireside Chat, because she does it twice a month. Each time it's 2 hours, and you have the ability to interact. So it doesn't mean you're going to be chosen because it's popular, but you have the ability to like interact, ask a question, and so many topics.
I can see the person asking, and they can see me, and so can the group. And I want to involve the group more. People have very good, complex questions.
They do.
And if someone in the group is saying, "Oh, would you ask Jane this or Robert that?" There's a chat running down the side, and my producer may say, "Robert from Santa Fe would like you to ask da 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 da," and a good question. And then, to flesh out the question so that we can really decide what that person should do. And unlike self-help books that give you one direction, astrology gives you several. And you get to pick.
The good thing about this, your Fireside Chat is, I was present for the first one, and covered so many topics that there was like, I saw, and I was reading the comments, like sometimes people had a question, but you would already answer it. And so because you covered such a wide array of topics, which I want to do today too.
I liked the warmth and the compassion. And there was a woman who asked about her little baby. She had a preemie. He was in the hospital, this little child, and now he came home, but she was afraid, what if he has to go back? And I did the chart, and we really talked, wanted to know how little he was and what happened and everything. And then I said, I think he's a strong little creature and that he will not have to go back. And people were putting emojis of hugs and claps and hearts. And that's what I'm trying to create: a warm community, a safe community where we can all talk and feel great. And I'm not going to talk about celebrities, not going to talk about politicians. This is what I say. This is a show where you're the star. I'm just there to answer your questions. So if anybody's interested, go to my site, the homepage, astrologyzone.com. And right on the homepage, I'm in a yellow little dress, and I'm sitting at a table, and you just click on that, and it gives you a little sizzle reel and gives you all the information. And I also list under appearances all the themes I'm going to cover. And I had gone through up to February, and I said to the group, I never talk about pain. And pain is a part of life. There's emotional pain, financial pain, there's grief when we lose someone or when we break up.
Yeah.
And I would like to do a series on pain. What do you think? Oh my gosh, the response was phenomenal. One girl said, "Can you do it sooner?"
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I have to do some research. I'm very careful, and I have to decide how I'm going to shape it, and we all will share stories, and I'll look and see what caused it, and no one needs to know astrology because I don't assume anybody does. My MO is to show people what astrology can do for you to help you live a more fulfilling, happy, creative life, So life doesn't have to be hard. My mother used to say, if you're going with the cycles of the planets, she's taught me astrology, it's not like walking into the surf, big waves and hitting a concrete wall. If you're going with the cycles, it's much, much more pleasant, and you understand things, and knowing an eclipse is coming, knowing that something's going to come up. Clear your calendar. Don't have too much going on so you can address. Usually it's a surprise. Usually it's something new that's come from the outside in that you have to pay attention to. The eclipse is saying, hey, I want you to stop what you're doing. And you say, well, this is not a good time. And the universe laughs and puts its hand on your back and say, you're going to listen to me. You cannot ignore an eclipse. And it's interesting. I've learned a lot. And everything is how you frame it. I just found out I'm going to need 2 major surgeries because it's the same part of the body, but they don't do it together. And somebody could say, oh, that was a terrible eclipse. No, finally, I have a doctor who understands my condition, wants to help me, and we're getting another opinion from his partner. He's sending me over to another doctor across town. And I see it as a good development. So I always tell my readers, don't be too quick to name an eclipse bad. It's got a second act. It's going to unpetal and unfold. Give it time. There's a lot of dust in the air during an eclipse.
Yeah.
And cosmic dust. But give it maybe a couple of weeks. And eclipses come in pairs. So we have another one coming on the 21st. But it's a good one. But Saturn's involved. So whatever we accept, we have to be practical. We have to say, okay. This is real life. I have to understand this. Or it's like, well, I'm taking a very big job. I mean, this is and you might say to your boss to be, do you think I'm right for this job? Oh yeah, that's my job to know. Yes, you're the one. And you'll feel the weight of it. But that's what I had when I started Astrology Zone. And in December, it'll be 30 years on the internet. If you feel the responsibility, you step up and you really focus and you're present and it becomes your baby. I mean, I have real children too, but my children say, Mommy had us and then she had a website. But you give it everything you've got, and that's the kind of thing that's coming in another week or so, the 21st of September. It's an eclipse in Virgo. And what's different about the one that's coming, we just had a full moon eclipse. So something was coming to fullness. Something had to end. In my case, what was wrong with me? We got to go in and fix it. But a new moon is usually happier, less emotional,
Good.
where you're going to start a new path, a new beginning, a new chapter. You're turning the page. You have a fresh new leaf to write your story, and detail will count because it's Virgo, and that's what Virgo does, and no, this one is a good one. There are just Saturn is going to press on you, and some signs like Aquarius and Leo will be thinking finances and may decide, you know what, I'm going to pay off that debt. I am sick of paying every month. I'm going to cut things out of my life, focus on this, and wipe it out. We're sort of getting into that kind of mode where I want something to change.
Yeah,
And
that's
so I'm
yeah.
going to give it my all. Kind of, when you get to the end of your rope, like if your boss isn't getting back to you and you're like, wait, do I have the new promotion or don't have it? Or if I do have it, when does it start? You kind of get to the point, or you're dating someone. Are we a couple, or are we not a couple? Are we exclusive? Will you just tell me? That kind of thing. You get to the point where I want some closure here. And that was the one we just had. And then once you get that closure, you can make plans. The thing I've learned as being an astrologer, the universe wants us to be productive. If somebody's dating someone, let's say a girl wants to have a baby and
The guy doesn't.
And they just keep dating and they're in love, but he's already had children. I wrote about this in Pisces. She is in a very bad situation because she wants a baby desperately. And he said, okay. I said, but if he's giving in, and later he's resentful that she has to give a lot of time to the little infant. I mean, babies take a lot of attention. I always say there can only be one baby in a marriage. And the man usually feels a little jealous. Oh, what am I, chopped liver? I mean, how come you're always with the baby? Well, that's what happens. And if she gives in and says, okay, I won't have children, she may get resentful later. And I have to get realistic about this. Yeah. I've talked to her since. And she's born on September 21st. Oh, I said, you know what? If you don't decide, the eclipse will decide for you. Now, this is not usually ideal. We always want to be in control of our destiny. Sure, yeah. And but usually, and it's almost like God is watching all of us. I'm like, that situation with that couple is going nowhere fast. I will put another element at play. Like he'll get a big promotion, has to open the London office. Oh, either we get married and you come with me to London, or we have to understand that this is not working. A relationship can be 97% great, but that last 3% can actually spoil it. I've seen it, and if he doesn't want children, even though he loves children, his kids now are in their 20s. There's a big age difference between her and her boyfriend, and that is the problem. But there's also a cultural difference. He's from another country. And I said, we grow up with culture, we grow up with expectation. And even if you're not seeing it now, if you're not exactly on the same wavelength, it will come out later, and you have to
So true.
make sure that that's not going to interfere. That his idea of what a woman should be like and her idea of what a man should be like. And that's a whole other subject because men today don't know what they're supposed to be like because of all the politics and everything going on out there, that there's a lot of change going on dynamically at the same time. You know, nothing is remaining static. And when you have all that dynamicism, you know, a man, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a father or a husband or a lover? It's changing. And men are afraid to compliment women. They're afraid they'll wind up in court.
That's
So,
so funny. That's so
oh, that's terrible. Compliment us. Don't worry. But, you know, until this shakes out, it's hard for guys. I have a heart for them. I hear it. I know. I know it's not always easy, especially men in their 20s, especially because you're leaving, you know, teenage years. The 20s, I think, are the hardest years of your life because you graduate from
Yeah,
college,
they are.
you have to find an apartment, you usually have to make friends and find a sweetheart or something, find a good job, hopefully a job that has a future. I got married by the time I was 25. I had children by the time I was 30. I mean, what a 10-year period. So, not everybody crams it in like I did, but I wanted to get started. But there is a lot of pressure on people in their 20s, a lot. And people say to me, I'm going to be 30. I said, good. People take you seriously at 30 and the pressure comes off. You've already proved a lot. No, it's a good thing. You're going to like it. And I'm always right.
You've been giving good examples. I'm glad we went straight into the eclipses because I know we want to cover other stuff, but the eclipses, like we need to talk about that now, I feel, because I got so many
Yeah.
questions about that. And your example is true because even I could relate to it. Susan and I were talking off air, but like this first eclipse, it feels like a situation I told her about. It's like I need an answer because I need to know what way to go. But this upcoming eclipse, it feels like will one get the answer and it's more one for fresh starts. So just to reiterate everyone, on September 7th, we just had a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces at 15 degrees. And coming up on September 21st, I'm
Solar eclipse.
we have a new moon because I'm sorry, let me reiterate. On September 7th, we just had a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces at 15 degrees. On September 21st, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees. Susan, could you give a little forecast for every sign and detail essentially how these two eclipses will affect every sign? If you could give a brief overcast, that would be great.
It's easier to do one at a time.
How
Well,
about the one that's coming up
yeah,
on September?
Aries is going to have changes in the office. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
It's all good. I need a drink too.
Aries is going to see everyday work, the routine change. And they might be a new person they hire, or someone may say they're leaving. That's always hard. If your assistant decides to quit, you're like, oh no, she was the best, you know. And it means that you're going to have to interview. It means you're going to have to take on more work because that person's not going to be there anymore. Or it may mean that the office is moving to new headquarters, or that it has new goals, new framework. The sixth house is where Aries is having this new moon. It's 29 degrees. So it's the degree of completion because there are no degrees after that. It goes to 0 degrees, you know, into the next sign because the pizza pie of a chart, the 12 slices, all have 0 to 29 degrees, 59 minutes. And Aries has to watch their health to take, well, actually, it's a good time to start getting fit, eating better, maybe getting more fresh air, more sleep, and just getting on a better routine. It's also a good time for Aries to get a little pet. If they were thinking of getting a little dog or cat, it's a good time. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
I don't know what happened to me. Now you take Taurus. This is a good, really good eclipse because it's in their house of love. And they could meet someone. My sister met her husband on an eclipse. And, go out, have fun, be with friends. But, if you're talking to someone, you're having a glass of wine at the bar waiting for your table to be ready and someone wants to talk to you, strike up a conversation. Things happen at eclipse time. So, but I always say nothing happens if you stay home.
That's true. Yeah.
You have to leave the house. People say to me, "Oh, nothing happened." Well, did you try? Because you have to partner with the universe. You can't just wait, and for a knock on the door. It doesn't work that way. Now, the same eclipse could bring a baby. Lots of couples adopt or have a surrogate or get pregnant. The ancients talked a lot about having children with the fifth house, activated, and it's very activated. And because Saturn is pressing on that moon and sun, whatever you take on will be a big responsibility, but you're ready for it. Things that we could never have done 4 or 5 years ago, you're ready for it, and you step up and you go into the next chapter, and Saturn teaches us that the most wonderful things we have in life, the things we're proudest to say we did, are usually done with a strong Saturn overlay, whether it's a conjunction or any kind of aspect, and it's present at this eclipse. So if, for example, you get a promotion, it's a step up. This is not a lateral move into another department. This is definitely more responsibility, more power, more influence, more opportunity to have your voice heard. So anyway, that's Taurus. Taurus is all about love and creativity. Not everybody wants children. And in astrology, we feel your creative project is your baby also in that house. So if you're serious about a project or you get one at work, like maybe you're a film director and you get the green light to start work on your film, the fact that it's happening at eclipse time, we only get 4 eclipses a year. 2 this month. We had 2 in March. We're going to have 2 next March. We're definitely having a 2. I don't know if it's the end of February. No, I think the one at the end of February is just a regular full moon. One studio manager said to me, "Oh, the eclipses are falling on a new and full moon this year." I said, no, they always do. It's not unusual. It's something that's the only way it can happen. So anyway, you got Gemini. Now, Gemini has this eclipse in their house of home. So some of them are moving, some of them are going to start renovating or fixing up the house, in anticipation of the holidays coming, doing a deep clean or a declutter. That seems to be the rage. All my friends are saying, "I decluttered for the whole week last week. I feel better for it." I always think decluttering is the thing you hate to do the most, but are the happiest you did after it's done. And if you want to declutter, I find it's better to have a buddy, a friend who says to stay or go, to stay or go. They, pick things out of the box. I find doing it alone is...
You want to keep everything.
Yeah, you do. And also, if you have a buddy, you laugh a lot and it helps you get through all of it. And but I find you have to take everything out of the closet. That's the only way it works for me. But see, I find I'm most productive when I bring in the painters, and I force myself to paint the closets too and the rooms. And that really forces you, because now you have a brand new clean closet. You're not going to overstuff it. So, but there was another thing, it was a eureka moment, because I just had a flood and I had to move temporarily while they fixed my apartment. And I've been away for a year. I'm going back this month. And it's hard for me to give up things. And other people find it easier, but I guess because my mom was a depression baby, she kept things and she didn't throw away things because they were out of date. It was because it was expensive. You keep it, it was functional. And I find if I say to myself, I made a mistake when I bought that blouse or that dress or those shoes, or that pen never worked right. I never liked it. You know what I mean? Or that vase never looked right. The flowers just went too wide. It should have had a tighter mouth. Whatever it was, I made a mistake. Seems to have helped me throw away things or give them to charity is better. So maybe that will be helpful to other people. I don't know. But if you give yourself permission and say, sometimes we do make a mistake. It's part of life. Now, Cancer's on the move. They're traveling. And it's a surprise. And even my own assistant, Valerie, is a Cancer. And she said, I'm going to Spain. I said, when? She said, in 3 weeks. I said, I didn't know that. She said, neither did I. My very good friend is moving there and she wants me to come over. She wants me to stay with her. And then I have another friend in Barcelona and she said, hey, if you're coming over, come to me too. While you're in Spain, take another plane ride to me. So she's going to spend 10 days in Spain and I'm so happy for her. The Cancers tend to be home a lot, so this is great. And I think they're going to be taking a foreign trip. Now, remember, even going to Canada is foreign. We don't think of our friendly neighbor as foreign, but if you need a passport, it's considered ninth house foreign activity. But when you have Jupiter conjunct the sun, and it's your emerald year, as the Cancers have now until June 30th, 2026, what Jupiter tries to do is open your eyes to new cultures, new experiences, and new understanding, new perspective. And it usually involves at least one, it could be more than one, foreign trip. So all the Cancers have between now and the end of June next year to take that wonderful opportunity to go somewhere they never thought they'd go. Go to Istanbul, go to Cairo or St. Bart's, where everybody speaks French. But, travel, go to Mexico or Montreal or anywhere that will open your eyes to a new culture and new activities. And every city has features and wonderful food that you can taste and be inspired by. Leo is going to have their emerald year starting actually August 1st of next year. They waited 11 and a half years. They only have 6 months to go. Now, this eclipse is happening in their money house. Money may go out, but I believe money's coming in. The first eclipse, which happened earlier, September 7th, and you can feel an eclipse during that whole week. And sometimes you can even feel it a month to the day earlier, plus or minus 5 days, or a month later, so they'll feel it maybe in October. But I believe they could be getting a nice check that they don't expect. They're doing money management. A lot of them are wanting to buy a house or a condo or co-op, and they're arranging their life, saying, what can we give up? Oh, dinner on Saturday night. We could give that up for a while because you're a great cook and the partner maybe love to cook. Let's really put the pedal to the metal and try to build that nest egg. Or let's finally pay our taxes. We didn't file in April. This is a nightmare. Let's get it over with. But it's real money management. Now, this eclipse is happening in their house of salary. Now, usually it's the time to ask for a raise, but because Saturn is in a tough angle, if their boss said, we got a wage freeze, or I can give you a raise, but I can only give you like a 5% raise, don't feel bad. It's not you, it's the circumstance. You can try again, when I tell you to. In Astrology Zone, I always give you plenty of, time. And I believe in March it may be a better time, which is only 6 months away. But, it's always good to try. But they are obsessed with money management. And, Leo, the one word they hate the most is the word budget. Never use that word with a Leo. Like, ooh. It feels contained. They would rather commit to something expensive and then figure out a way to make the money. And they do. Now, Virgo is our star because the eclipse is in their sign. And they're going to have clarity about a partnership. A lot of Virgos have had a lot of learning in marriage or business partnership. They could have a perfect marriage, but they could be pulling their hair out with a partner, investor, publicist, agent, someone you work very closely with in a confidential way. And they may feel that person is holding them back or being too stodgy, but that person's being practical. So hear them out at least, hear what they have to say, but only you can decide how you feel about this person. Now, if you feel the relationship is really good, but lately you're just not jiving, then go to couples therapy if the person you're dating or married to. But there's actually, I didn't know this, there are therapists who work on business questions too. Business partner. Did you know that, Will?
No,
There
actually.
are therapists and they're very skilled. They're here in New York. They must be doing a lot of business. But
Yeah.
the whole one-on-one relationship is under the magnifying glass, so to speak. But this eclipse is giving Virgo clarity. They could have been, like I told you, my friend, not knowing, should I break up? Should I marry him? They've been almost 2 years together, and that's usually when something happens. That's a Saturn cycle. So usually after 2.5 years, people decide what is the next step. Do I stay or go? But they're understanding themselves better, Virgo. And opportunity is coming to them. And they've had a dazzling year last year with career. Incredible. Right now, they're focusing a lot on home and family, like maybe an aging mom or dad, and maybe need more attention from them. Or maybe they finally decided they need a bigger apartment and they're looking, home, family, and other property. Maybe I have a friend who's building an A-frame in the Catskills. I said, what are you going to do with that? He said, well, it's right near a ski resort. I'm going to have a B&B up there. And I'm building a beautiful glass A-frame with lots of heat. The people will love it. They'll be able to see the snow and everything. And I thought that was very enterprising. And that's what he's working on. So now you get to Libra. Libra is really doing well in their career, almost magically. I mean, because they have Jupiter up there. And this eclipse that just happened on the 7th was helping their work project. When you have a good eclipse in your work project center, it means that project has legs. People notice the good work you did. And when it comes time to decide who's going to get a promotion, you're going to be on that list. So, I can always see the progression and the timing. And they're just having a dazzling year, and it's only just begun. It's going to end at the end of June of next year. They have plenty of time to make their mark and to really get the industry respect they deserve. So it's and the Virgo part of them, it's the sign that comes before Libra. So they could hear a secret or some gossip that turns out to be true. If you hear gossip at eclipse time, it always turns out to be true. Don't just dismiss it. I got to look into that, And
Good
you
advice.
could hear something that helps you. Your intuition, Libra, will be very, very strong. And you must not wonder if you should listen to it. You have to listen to it. The universe is giving you night vision, Libra. What you hear at that eclipse will intensify. It could be good news too. It could be that your company thinks the world of you and that you've made the short list of people, stars in the making. And you had no idea. You thought nobody's watching me, nobody's paying attention, nobody cares. No, not true. They do care. They're impressed too. And you're like, whoa. So you hear what's going on behind closed doors. So sometimes it's really good. And I bet it will be for them. They're such a nice sign. I love the Libras. Okay, then we get to Scorpio. Now, Scorpio has had Saturn in the 5th house. So love was serious for them, but not so easy. And maybe they had a baby and they felt, whoa, boy, parenthood is not easy. This little person needs so much time and attention. But that's okay. It was your time to, to really grow through love. True love is giving of yourself so that the little person or the big person that you love can benefit. You love so much that there's no ego there. You want to help that person. Love drives you. And they're going to get help with that in February. They're going to feel lighter and that the whole process of parenthood is easier. They're going to find the whole process of dating easier, which they'll say, oh no, that'll never happen. No, it will. And you've had 2 years of difficulties, and that eclipse fell in that house of love. The new one falls in your house of friendship. Now, my daughter said to me, if people want to find more people to date, they have to make more friends. I said, why is that?
Yeah.
Friends introduce you to other friends and your circle expands. And I was thinking a lot about what Christy said because it's true, especially because that eclipse is in their house of friendship. Now, this is a sign that doesn't like to leave the house. They don't like small talk. They're wired to really focus on the important things in life. And boy, when a Scorpio says they're going to do something, and this includes Scorpio rising, let's say they say, I'm going to give up smoking. Okay, how you want nicotine? No, I'm going to do it whole turkey. And you say, whoa, I know someone who did this. And she said, I'm giving up coffee too. I said, the same week? She said, well, no, when I have a cup of coffee, I want a cigarette. So I have to give up the coffee and have matcha. Oh, and it worked. She gave up smoking. It took a while. It took several months, and she'd fall off the wagon now and then. But she said, I want a clean body because I want to have a baby, and I don't want to smoke. Don't want to smoke. And she gave it up completely. A Scorpio can do things cold turkey that the rest of us could never do. But I admire that so much. And you watch them. Any goal that they have, they build a plan and then they go for it. So this new eclipse will bring more friends into their lives, and I encourage them to join a club. Could be a social club, like Soho House, something like that, or it could be a professional club, like Filmmakers Association, whatever. And I want them to get out more and make more contacts because they'll grow from it. The greatest personal growth will come from that. Because eclipses do that for us. They make us better. For Sagittarius, that full moon eclipse, and it was a total eclipse, all had to do with the home. They may have been moving. It's very possible because a full moon brings an ending. And sometimes you feel a little nostalgic. Oh, I'm leaving the house that I grew up in or something. Young people may get their first apartment, or maybe a couple may buy their first house. But it also could be repairs or renovation or painting, different rooms in the house, or decluttering, something about the physical house, or finishing a deal, maybe buying a house with your sister or brother, something like that. But it also could relate to family, like helping a family member who needs you. It could be your mom or dad, which are very prominent in the fourth house, but it could be a little baby who needs special attention, maybe, or a little child who needs special tutoring. It could be anything where you need to focus on home. Now, moving on to the eclipse coming up on the 21st. This is the eclipse that you really have to watch. This one is a good one. It's in your career house, honors, awards, achievement, fame. This is where you could really make your mark. You've waited for this all year. It's everything you've done up until now will come to like a box with a big bow on it. And it's time to open it up, see what's inside, and see what you're ready for next. It's a new moon that elevates you to a new level in your career. It's really good. And I don't think you have to go out and interview. I think you already have. And something that you've already put out there will pop up. Might have thought, I never heard from them. They never called me back. And then they call you back and say, oh, you're in the running. You're up. You're one of the top 3 for us. Like, how would you know that ever? They didn't return any of your calls. But there it is. An eclipse brings sudden news. And this is a good one for you. So see if you can get that interesting new job or open the doors of your own business. Often that happens too. Capricorn, you have a kind of nice eclipse. It's happening in your house of travel. Now, the one that you just came through could have been a short trip, very short. It could have been within 200 miles of your house. It could have been that you finished a very important contractual deal, or you may have something going on with a sibling or a cousin. That third house rules those people in your life. But the new eclipse could bring you further afield. It could bring you to overseas. It could bring you, or to the, if you live in America, the West Coast, a distant trip. And it would be very enlightening. Or you may decide, I'm going back to graduate school. I finished college. I've had a few years working. I want to get another degree. And that commitment could be made at this eclipse. You could be entering your admissions forms to various colleges, writing your essays in the weeks to come. You could get a good job in publishing or broadcasting because the house that's so lit up rules information, both the information you take in, like in school, or when you travel. The ancients felt when you travel, you were learning, and it was the best way to learn about the world by being in a foreign country. So that's why travel is in the same house as college. And then it also rules giving out the information and specialty information that you've gained through being a reporter or a publisher or a writer or, publishing and broadcasting or digital work, and or being a lawyer, getting a big case. This could really make your name. We look for those opportunities. And this is an intellectual house. This is an intellectual eclipse. But it should be a good one for you. Number one, because it's in an earth sign and you're earth. So you take the message of the eclipse naturally. You absorb it easily. And I did mention that Saturn was in a hard aspect to this eclipse. Well, you don't mind that. You're ruled by Saturn. You think that's normal. You look for hard jobs and you like to prove yourself that way. So while the rest of the people are like little turtles falling on their back with their feet in the air, you're like, fine, I can do this. So I'm not worried about Capricorn. Capricorn is going to do just great. You have the next sign is Aquarius, and this is again money management. Something came to a head just a few days ago at the full moon lunar eclipse. You may have had to pay a big bill, but it may be something you wanted. You wanted to buy a piece of art or a designer suit, something. And you want maybe a piece of jewelry or something expensive that you wanted. Or it could have been a big bill like the government saying you didn't pay enough taxes and you may have had to write a check. But money was coming in too. And, this is an interesting situation because Aquarius is not a materialistic sign. Actually, they're happiest if they have enough money to support themselves and their family, and their happiest place to be is the Apple store, buying some new equipment. You want to make Aquarius happy? You say, on Saturday night, let's hang out at the Apple store. Okay. Let me get my backpack. And it is a happy place. I love it there. And but they want to make a difference in the world. They want to, they're known to organize groups to bring a spotlight to those who suffer in society, who have been overlooked or dismissed or just haven't really been given the attention they deserve. And see if they can help, maybe raise money, get some press for them. They have a good soul. And it might be a charity. It could be something about the environment, helping save the whales, clean up the oceans, different things like that. They're very motivated and so effective. So it's funny that they're obsessed with money right now, but it's temporary. We all have to deal with money management sooner or later. And they may set up new goals. Now, this new eclipse, the one that's coming September 21st, in some time zones it's the 22nd. And of course, an eclipse has a long tail. So in the weeks to come, they may be raising venture capital. They may be getting a gift, a valuable gift, like a piece of jewelry or something, or it could be grandma gives you savings bonds that are worth a lot because she never matured them and took them out when they ripened and they've been collecting interest, and she gives them all to you. You could win a prize. Now, I don't believe we should be buying lotto tickets. When you hear time after time that nobody won, of the whole United States, that's not a good sign. I would prefer that you buy not lotto tickets, charity raffle tickets. Have a much stronger chance of winning. I have a friend who forgot she bought them and she won first prize. She won the Porsche.
Oh, wow.
So good things happen to good people like Aquarius. So, but money comes to you. You're a little money magnet on this new eclipse. And if you're in a new job, negotiating one, what you'd probably be up to in the scheme of things is benefits. The health insurance, the days off for vacation, maybe flex time. Staying home 2 days a week could save you a lot of money in gasoline and not to mention time and stress. So, you'll probably be working on a benefits package. You might be sending in an application to your insurance company or disagreeing with something they didn't approve. Listen, if you write a good letter, miracles happen. You should do it. You have the right eclipse. You have an eclipse. I mean, my God, that's huge. Okay. So it's all about money for Aquarius. And then you have Pisces. Now, the first eclipse, they had to watch their health. Something could have been off. Good to go to the doctor. You have to be your own advocate. Nobody's going to come over to you and say, your skin looks a little green. I think you're missing, vitamin C. I don't know. You have to be your own advocate and go and have the test done. 1 hour at the doctor can change your longevity. I had one reader who said, I remembered you saying that. And I wasn't going to have the mammogram, but I was reading it in my monthly forecast. This was a while back. So I just said, okay, Susan said to do it. And they found something. And they were able to treat it right away. They caught it at the very beginning. I'm telling you, it's worth it. And I know we're all busy, but got to make that time to get it checked out. You'll feel better. The other thing about the eclipse is something very personal to you was coming to culmination. It could have been an important trip or an important development in your love relationship. Something was just coming together. Now, it could have been good or bad. I mean, if somebody doesn't want to be dating you, you don't want to be dating them. Let them have their old life. You'll have a better life. You only want to be with people who want to be with you. But it could be that your partner, and it could be a girl or a guy, or it could be anybody, could say, would you like to marry me? Oh my goodness. And you find out, wow, this is a serious relationship. I wasn't sure how he or she was feeling. Sometimes the girl asks the question, so see what happens. That's what's coming. A clarification and an actual going ahead with partnership ideas to go ahead, to make it better, to make it richer. I always think of the farmer and his wife. When they're alone, when they're not married, when they're single, just like planets, nothing happens until two planets come together. Planets spinning alone, nothing happens. They have to communicate with another planet or 2 or 3 planets, whatever it happens to be. But alone, not as much happens. Same thing with people. You say to yourself, I'm ready to have a partner. I'm ready to build my life. And the farmer and his wife till the fields, sow the crops, and sow the seeds, I should say, and have the harvest, and then enjoy the fruits of their harvest. And some couples want to have children. Some couples want to build equity and get a house. Some couples want to start a business together. But the urge to make something more of a partnership will be strong after this eclipse. And that's good because it's productive. And if the person isn't for you, it's hard for Pisces to break up. They tend to be very giving. But if the person hasn't come across, hasn't helped and contributed, you may, at this point, the little fish waits a very long time.
They do. They have the patience of a saint.
Very long. That's actually not a good thing sometimes. But then they will swim away to a warmer place in the sea. And once you've lost Pisces, they never come back.
True.
And they don't like confrontation.
Mhm.
They're uncomfortable with that. And they don't want to see you cry or anything. Oh my gosh. So they just kind of quietly swim away. And a lot of people say, what just happened? Because Pisces is easy to take for granted because
Yeah.
they're so giving.
So true. Yeah.
So you'll get closure. Well, not closure so much. I think it's more, this eclipse will be more about a fresh start with a relationship, even if it's an ongoing one. It could be a new one or an ongoing one, but a new chapter is forming. So it's good.
Yeah. So essentially from the first eclipse to September 7th, it's things come to a culmination, possibly closure, but you get an answer. And the one on September 21st is really like a new start for
And
Pisces.
that's when you know enough now, you've gotten the answer to your questions and you can plan accordingly.
Okay. All right. So that's good. Good. Forecast very heavy, some of them.
Well, you see this week.
Oh, I know. I'm going through it. You know, I'm going through it. So
Listen, I have to say November is going to be a very trying month. And watch your electronics. Back them up. Make sure you have good battery life. You know what? I bought these little
one thing I will
battery
say,
chargers. You know, I bought extras. I was on a plane to Beijing and my agent was going to meet me in the airport. No one speaks English in China. There are no signs in English at all. And you don't see any Americans in China. And I had to go for Harper's Bazaar. And the plane is landing. I have now flown for 16 hours.
6:25.
And my phone is dead.
It's 6:25. I'm gonna have to.
And this is what happens, that I now have extra battery power. And watch digital problems in November. And also Mercury's going to be retrograde. Now, the bad news is you're going to have to Christmas shop in October. I know none of us feel ready. But you know what? Amazon must be clued in. They must have an astrologer because they're going to have those power days where, you know, everything's on sale. But burn a candle. You know, they have these pretty Christmassy candles. And put on a little Christmas music. You'll get into the swing of things. If you have a little child you have to buy a present for, like a neighbor or a relative, start with the children. You'll giggle all the way through the toy store because you'll say, oh my goodness, look at these toys. They're so much fun. So I always start with children. Remember that FedEx and UPS and the post office asks you to send your wrapped presents no later than the 6th or 7th, if you want them to be sure to get there by the holidays. And I know my Jewish friends tell me that Hanukkah is much earlier. I think it's around the 12th. That means those friends are really going to have to hit the ground running in October because you're not going to find things in November. Shelves are going to be empty. I think the tariffs will have an effect. And you don't want to disappoint people. And you don't want to run out and get anything. You want to really make the person happy. So, you know, isn't it nice to have a stress-free December? That happens if you start in October.
Wise, do all your Christmas shopping in October, basically. Susan,
and pick up some evening things to wear because you're going to want to step out, right? You want to go to some parties.
Thank you for breaking down all of that, all of the eclipse forecasts for every sign. And also, thank you for letting us know that we need to do our holiday shopping in October. So
We all got to get into the mood, but we'll be glad we did it.
I think the only thing people are safe to buy in November is gift cards.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mercury's retrograde. Don't
Even
buy
that you don't
any,
recommend. Even that you don't recommend.
but Apple's coming out with its new phone now.
That was a
It's so
smart.
funny. They called me up. Hi, this is the business department. This is, Henry or whatever his name is. Do you need anything? I said, yes, I need a new phone. Could you reserve one? Yes. So that was quick. All right.
I
I
need a
want
new
to
phone.
get the new
I've
one.
had the same phone for like
A few iterations. I
like
know. I
3 years.
do too.
But that's because I have so much stuff on it. I always get worried about transferring. So
Well,
I'll
no, it's pretty good. They'll transfer it for you.
I actually keep the same phone because some people change their phones every year. I actually keep it for like a long time.
Yeah, but liquid glass is coming out, and it's going to be beautiful.
I know I need that. I need that.
And I think the camera and everything, and they made it lighter. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, that's the one thing I don't like is these phones are like too
They're
heavy.
really heavy when you're a woman.
For something
Everything
that's
in
so
your purse.
delicate, for something that's so delicate, I'm surprised at how heavy it is.
Yeah, but it'll be lighter the next one.
But anyway, before I get to my questions that I kind of want to do rapid fire with, one quick question. You did say November is going to be rough, but Mars is going into Sagittarius. So will it actually be good for the mutable signs for a change?
Well, like Pisces will get lots of publicity and career advancement, and Virgo will have a lot to do with family, and Sagittarius will be the leader of the parade. But luckily it extends into the middle of December, so it clears up on November 29th. Oh, and travel for the holidays in November. Remember, Thanksgiving is when everybody gets on a plane. It's the biggest in the year, and it's not going to be good. I'm telling people, go earlier to your family, a day or two earlier, in case you're going to be sleeping on a cot in JFK, right? You have to give it extra time. November is a very frustrating month.
At at least the mutable signs get some help.
Yeah, we get some help. And
Yeah.
people from the past come back, and people you've always liked and want to see again.
Interesting. So because of that reason, I'm not going to dread it too much outside of the shopping in advance.
There are some shockers. Last year, um, some horrible person put 19,000 stolen credit card numbers
Oh, I
in,
remember.
in my cart to see if they could buy a calendar. And of course, if they didn't have the security code, and
So is
we
that
have all this verification and all that stuff they make you do, we have very tight security. And we do not share names of the readers with anybody. But anyway, we started to see weird activity the day after Thanksgiving. And our merchant bank, which is a big one, it's a division of PayPal, Braintree, noticed something very wrong and shut everything down. So there we were the week that everybody shops, Thanksgiving.
so is that
And
that could happen?
and we were closed. We had to. We of course comply. And then they said to us, "You're under probation for 2 weeks." As if it's my problem. I didn't do anything wrong. So for 3 weeks we couldn't sell. And that was pretty bad. And Uranus is coming back to where he was last November.
Oh,
I told my chief engineer, we're going to watch everything like a hawk. So we're all ready. He's written little strings to make alarm bells go off, if anything. You just
wow.
never know. They keep changing their tactics. But we're good. We do everything right. So and Braintree was happy. I don't know why they put us on probation, but they do this with everybody. They told me. I'm like, okay. You in cases like that, you just go with the flow. You don't have a choice. But I just didn't want to go through that again,
No.
any kind of trouble.
Oh man. So people need to
But
also.
every business owner, the things that I go through, I couldn't have imagined. In December 14th, Astrology Zone will be 30 years on the internet since 1995.
You
So,
have to do. I told you this when we went out to dinner. You need to do a big party.
uh, well, my daughter's helping me have a small party. I'm
Okay.
so not a party girl, but she said, Mommy, I give parties all the time, she said. She does. And so she's working on something. So we'll invite you
Oh, thank you. That'll be
and
fun.
April and other people in your company.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to really celebrate it. That's a major accomplishment.
It is, it reached
This is very
25 years
humble.
during the pandemic. So I didn't even leave the house. We all just wanted to live. New York was
I know,
having a
man.
very hard time at that point. We didn't even have the vaccine yet. So everybody's just stayed home. Right.
But
It's
this
okay.
I'm
I just
already
want to
looking
share.
forward to that party, to be honest with you.
We
With
need a party, right? Everyone needs a party.
all this stuff I'm going through right now, I need something to like celebrate.
Yes, definitely. Oh, we all do. We live in interesting times, as they say.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, rapid fire questions. The first topic is going to be the moon sign. Recently, there has been major discussion within the astrology community about the significance of the moon sign. For
Mhm.
decades, it has been said that the rising sign is just as important as the sun sign, if not more significant.
No, I would say equal.
However, there's a theory that's been floating around recently, and I want you to let me know if it's true or not, that if you're born at night, the moon holds greater significance.
That's my research that everybody's quoting.
So
It's
it's
true.
true. So it is
Yeah,
true.
I got it from Vedic astrology. People would say to me, "Oh, I don't feel like a Virgo. I don't feel like a Leo, whatever." And I started to notice my daughter, who is a Pisces, married to a man named Leo. How funny is that? I'm an
That is
astrologer.
funny.
My son-in-law is Leo, and he is a Leo. Now I thought when they started dating, water and fire, not a good combination.
Yeah.
But they are fabulous together. And then I had read that in Vedic astrology, which is a whole different algorithm, that the moon is more important, especially if the person is born after the sun comes down, even if it's a minute. And Chrissy's moon is in Aquarius. And Aquarius and Leo go together perfectly. She actually has Venus there and Mercury, all in the house of love.
Oh,
And I
I
began realizing, yeah, if you're born at night and you don't feel like your sign, look at that moon sign, just in terms of personality, not in terms of prediction, like what's coming next. Don't read that sign for what might be coming up for you. Just read your sun sign and your rising. But for personality, yes. And for talent and things that you were given at birth, yes.
so it does
And,
hold
and it makes a lot of sense how you get along with other people.
it does. It does hold more significance, but then the second part of that question is, um, if you're born at night, does the moon hold more significance than your sun or rising?
No, no. The
Okay.
sun and the rising are so important. The moon generally is the repository of your dreams, your hopes, your emotions, your wishes, your what you want for yourself. It's also how you saw your mother. Let's
Uh,
say a mother has 5 children and they all have different moon signs. It's like the blind man and the elephant. They're all seeing their mother
yeah.
differently. I have the moon in Virgo. I saw my mother as very meticulous, detailed, and clean. Very, very neat. um, my 2 children have the moon in Aquarius, so they see me as different.
Yeah.
So, I don't think of myself as much different, but, being an astrologer, yes, I guess a full-time professional astrologer, I guess they're truly correct. So that moon is definitely your emotions, and it's also the domestic condition.
Really? What do you mean by
How it
that?
is now, and how, let's say you have Saturn on the moon,
My moon is in
moving.
Gemini.
You have the moon in Gemini. Well, you last year you had Jupiter conjunct the moon, so it could have been a great time to move and look for a bigger house. Jupiter expands everything. But if you had Saturn transiting over the moon, you might have been worried about your mom's health, or if she was a little sad, maybe her best friend moved away and that you should give her more time, or that your house has felt too small.
Well,
That's
we've talked
very
about that.
common.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
And so it just depends. You look at what planet is moving over that moon, and at birth, what planet is aspecting the moon. Yeah, but I tell people, don't read the forecast for your moon, no matter what, because it's your emotional state. And
Ah,
everybody knows their emotional state.
okay, good. Yeah.
So,
I definitely feel like my emotional state is indicative of being a Gemini moon because I tend to,
oh, well, you're a communicator extraordinaire. You ask the best questions. A Gemini moon is the ultimate reporter.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I also
And
feel
accuracy, you know.
yeah, yeah. I'm big about being what's accurate, what's the truth. Even in my personal life, I'm like, I need to know. Like,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
know
You
what,
probably
you
put on the news the minute you walk in the door. I do too. I have Gemini rising.
yeah, you get it.
And
Now,
books in the house, magazines. I know nobody reads magazines. I do.
and I'll change my mind too. Like I'll be like, I'm definitively against this, or I'm over this, or I'm gonna do this. And then because Gemini is like back and forth, it's like, oh, maybe I
Well,
should.
you're trying
Yeah,
like a lawyer to come to the, put truth through seven sieves.
yeah,
It's good that you change your mind. People who are rigid,
I know. Yeah,
I mean,
I know
you
a
know,
lot of I'm taking my ponytail out. I know a lot of people that are like that, very rigid, and it's not.
in a storm, if a tree
Yeah,
doesn't bend, it breaks. I think developing flexibility is a very good thing in life.
yeah. Thank
Because nobody gets through life easily. I think I was telling you about the stories I was seeing on the History Channel. The summer is great for the History Channel. You have cable, it comes with it.
yeah,
And when I saw the show on J.P. Morgan, Carnegie, and Rockefeller, and it chronicled the big points in their life, all three had crisis. And I began realizing everybody has it.
yeah,
And I also was thinking, when you go back, we think of, prehistoric people or people in the Renaissance and different ages. We think, well, we know so much more. No, they had the same planetary configurations we do.
yeah,
They're just as smart as we are, only in a different way. Like, I'm sure they could heal things with herbs and leaves in the forest and stuff that we don't know about. But I no longer think we have the right to feel superior to anybody, because those planets are non-judgmental. They just keep moving and create influences. And we have to partner with the universe. There's no predestination. So no, it just gave me a different perspective. But watching that History Channel, I mean, here JP Morgan was so enamored with electricity.
yeah,
And I said, oh, wonder what his birthday was. And I don't remember his birthday, but I remember he had Aquarius rising. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which rules
yeah,
electricity. And then I looked up Thomas Edison, because they were like pals. And he was an Aquarian. I thought, oh, perfect. And then they were competing with Tesla, who was being supported by Westinghouse. And they were competing for the World's Fair because Tesla had developed DC and Edison AC electricity. And the United States had to pick one or the other, couldn't have both, it's too complicated. And so they were vying for the World's Fair, where they would flick the switch and the whole fair would be lit with electricity, and no one's ever even seen one little house in lit up with electricity. So Tesla underbid Edison by quite a bit, even lost money on it, but won the bid. And when they flicked the switch, I was like, oh, breathtakingly beautiful. And now Rockefeller's looking at this. This is a nightmare. I have street lamps all over America. I'm with Standard Oil. I'm filling those lamps with oil all over America. This cannot be. So he starts a campaign saying electricity will kill you. Do not have it in your house. And he has this whole campaign in the newspapers. Meanwhile, JP Morgan really believes in Edison. But back at the ranch at home, his father comes home, throws the newspaper on the table, and says, I can't believe I have to read that my son is helping Thomas Edison. This is not a worthy investment. Oh, now JP Morgan feels terrible. He loves his father. His father has taught him everything. His father had a bank, but of course, JP Morgan is to take what his father taught him much further. But he wanted to please his father. And he was in real crisis over his father's displeasure because he wanted to help Edison. He believed in what Edison was doing and what he had achieved. And this going back and forth, back and forth. And one day around that time, his father goes into a carriage, horse and carriage, and there's an accident. His father dies. Whoa, big blow. But Thomas Edison feels, now I can go. JP Morgan feels, I can now go full speed ahead with my support of Thomas Edison. And of course, history has proved him right. Oh, Tesla was brilliant too. Let's not take anything away from him. And they found all his drawings and everything. But for some reason, Tesla died penniless. And nobody can quite figure out why. He was more of a recluse.
Yeah.
And even his drawings and notes were stolen from his hotel room. So there's all this mystery surrounding him, and it's a shame. He was brilliant, and but it shows that Rockefeller felt he was in a crisis. I'm sure Tesla did, and I'm sure Edison did. Oh my gosh, my one investor is having trouble with his father. He must have been in a frenzy. But none of us go through life without a crisis. Our little boats get bashed against the rocks every now and then. And it's not a point where we can avoid all change. We can't control everything, but we can control how we relate to it and how resourceful we are. And all these men were extremely resourceful. This show is about 90 minutes, and they give drawings and photographs, and it's like a teaching story. And it's so good. I saved it on my VCR and I keep watching it. And then I'm watching The West with Kevin Costner, and then Sitting Bull, who's a thin little guy. I always thought he would be big, He's this thin little guy whose father gives him a feather in a ceremony, which meant, you are the next leader. I believe in you. And the shock that the Indians, here they're roaming, they're loving America, they're here first. And the government even said, we'll give you parcels of land. We'll give you $15 million. And I said, no, we want everything. That's what we had. But then they see the railroad. What is that? What is that? What is that? And they have these things that, shoot, what is that? And it was the onslaught of new technology coming, and how the Indians were trying to compete with this and not understanding what they're competing with and why are all these people coming. So it shows you both sides. We were no angels, but it shows, and they hone in on personalities and stories. So you really care about everybody they're talking about. you learn about Crazy Horse and Little Turtle and all these wonderful Indian names and these people who shaped America, and how the Spaniards brought over the horse in America. Of course, horses weren't here; they were not indigenous, and it was a big mistake. They had Texas, and the Indians got hold of the horses, and the Spaniards could not shoot on a horse bareback. But the Indians were great at shooting and arrows and everything on bareback on the horses. So they kind of handed their adversary a big advantage when they brought all the horses over. I mean, it's so interesting because I really thought once we
Sounds like
signed the
something that would happen
Declaration.
during an eclipse. Handing your
Yeah. Well, the Indians watched all that.
yeah,
And because they knew when to plant and when to reap.
yeah.
Because in the beginning, astrology was used for food, agriculture, and when to plant and when to reap the food.
I think if everyone used astrology to model their life would be easier.
It is easier, yes.
Which, speaking of another topic that people had questions about, Chiron. Everyone, it seems like such a mysterious topic. So,
Well, it's an asteroid.
the thing is, Chiron is known, I mean, at least to people who are into astrology, as the quote, wounded healer.
I know, and you ask other astrologers, what's Chiron? And they say, a wounded healer.
They do
So what
say
does that
what's
mean?
wounded
And they
healer.
can't tell you. Look, Chiron is where you hurt. Chiron was a person, he's associated with Sagittarius, the wise philosopher, who was said to live on the top of a mountain. And it was a very arduous journey to get all the way up there to see him. But if you made it, it was life-changing. I never used Chiron originally.
Okay.
But then came 2014. And I got ulcerative colitis. And I was bleeding so much that they couldn't stop it. I lost a third of my blood supply.
Wow.
And Chiron was right on top of my sun and Mercury, which are close together usually anyway,
Yeah.
going back and forth, almost like a painter giving another coat of paint,
Another
another coat of
brush,
paint.
yeah.
And I was in agony. Doctors couldn't figure out what to do to help me. And I thought, if I could hang on to February 2016, it will finally take its teeth out of me. And I kept going to the doctor, and he got to the point where we're getting close to that. He said, I give up on you. I have actually hired another doctor to take care of you because I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you couldn't get an answer.
And the other doctor had the answer. And it was funny. And it was February 2016. And the first doctor said, if I give you that new drug, it's going to take 6 months for it to work. And you will have no drug to help you during that time. And you can't mix other drugs in. And I don't know how I'm going to keep you alive during that period. But the other one gave me that medicine. And I got instant results in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so I saw the power of Chiron. Chiron makes you hurt. But, well, I always see benefit in hardship, and it opens your heart. It makes me feel very close to God. I always say, God, I know you're testing me. I'm going to pass the test. And whatever you want me to go through, I will happily go through. I mean, I love God and I love my Catholic religion, and I have a very different relationship with religion than any of my friends. There's some deeply religious.
Yeah.
But I did see the power of Chiron. Chiron is where you hurt. If you see Chiron coming to, transiting over your sun, and you can find that out in an ephemeris, or you could probably ask Google, where is Chiron right now? It's in Aries. And I know a lot of Aries that are going through life trials. I do. I see it. But no, there is an end point, but you're not just supposed to put the alarm clock on and say, okay, I'm not going to do anything for 18 months. No, when I went through that period, I
You have to
went to
live.
the doctor. I did everything. I did say to him, I read in the New York Times, you're supposed to be depressed when you have this illness that I have. He said, yeah, you're my little outlier. Why are you so cheerful all the time? I'm thinking because I know astrology, it helps, you know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I am happy anyway. I always have a happy outlook.
You do.
I can always find something good in what I'm experiencing, something to learn from. It's good after you go through a big period. What did I learn from it? Or what did I learn from the year?
I always
What
do.
message
Always.
came to
Yeah.
me? It's good to stop for a minute. We go so fast. It's good to say, what did I learn this year? What was the valuable lesson, or what was the talent I developed, or what was the love I felt? As anything, you know, it's worth looking back a little bit, at the end of every year.
Yeah, I always do that, like religiously. It helps me prepare for the next year and figure out what I want to end and
Mhm.
see what my goals are as well, both personally and professionally. And on that subject of Chiron, so it is significant in our birth chart. So do you think when like people were to get a birth chart reading or like examine their birth chart, they should pay attention
Well,
to?
you could ask the astrologer, whereas it's in my house of health, and no surprise there. I was born with a birth defect that I grew up in hospitals. When I was 14, I spent the whole year in a hospital.
I think
When I never went to high school, I did homeschool because I had to go through physical therapy and learn how to walk over and over and over after going back and forth into surgery.
yeah.
So it's no surprise that Chiron's in my house of health. Also, look in a chart, not all slices of those pizza pie are the same size. If you
Yes.
look at the degrees and if
Yes.
you're using Placidus Tropical. And in my chart, the house of health and then the subconscious mind, those are the 12th house and the 6th house, are huge. So every time a planet goes through there, it stays forever. And all my hospital stays, I've stayed 8 months, 7 months, 1 year. I mean, everybody goes in and out of the hospital in
I
a
know,
week,
yeah.
and
And
I
usually
stay for months
it's
and
like a
years.
stay for you. Yeah.
And now I'm getting ready for more surgery, but a different part of me. But I'm grateful that they know how to do it, and somebody went to school and passed a test
Yeah.
to learn how to help me. It's bad when they say, "Oh, I never heard of this. I have to go to the library and get a book and keep it
Yeah.
open."
That,
You
that's
don't want
that's
that.
like a sign to be like, no, I need another dog. I'm trying another
You're
dog.
right. So,
By the way,
yeah.
real quick, I'm gonna get onto the topic of degree points. My Chiron is at 0 degree Cancer.
Oh,
Since
in what house?
I think it's my eighth house. Um,
Oh,
if Jupiter is going through Cancer at the same time Chiron,
no, Jupiter never afflicts.
no,
Oh, I hear on Instagram, oh, Mars is square Jupiter. It just means you'll eat more or spend more.
no,
Oh
I
my
mean
gosh,
like
that sounds like fun,
if
actually.
if Jupiter is in the same sign at like say Jupiter is in Cancer now, and I
Yeah,
have
I know, a conjunction.
like
Well, Jupiter heals.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
Jupiter is the great, he's Santa Claus, is the great miracle worker. So
So
it's a good thing.
okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I'm going to move on to degree points because I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask a question about that. But April's joining me for the tail end of this. Um, yeah, she was supposed to be in earlier, but something happened. So
Okay.
she's joining now. Okay, there we go.
I I only got back from Maine, so
Yeah, she was at a
Maine.
big event in Maine.
Wow, it
Yeah.
sounds beautiful.
So the gang is back.
yeah.
Um,
We're
so
kind of dangerous when we're all together.
I don't have a stitch of makeup on. I just put some lipstick on. So
You're gorgeous. You don't
thank
need
you.
it.
Susan
All
was
the
actually
movie stars, they're doing that on the red carpet. They're not wearing makeup.
yeah, that's like the thing now. Um,
Yeah.
I
Susan was telling me off air, I'm not going to name the place on air, but she found a new restaurant for us to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Manhattan?
Yeah, so the way
Okay.
you described it was like a fun spot. So off the air, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
But so we were just talking about Chiron moon signs. Before that, we went through all the eclipse stuff, gave a forecast for every sign. Now we're going on to degree points. It's like Susan read my mind because she started talking about that beforehand. So you had mentioned that in an astrology chart, not every part is equal. It all depends on degree points and what's activated.
Well, see, like if there's an eclipse, like we had on the 7th, if you don't have any planets 15 degrees, and you could go maybe as far as maybe 8 to 15, and then 15 plus 10 is 25. But the closer something hits, the more you're going to feel it vividly. So if you're born 15 degrees of Virgo, and you can find out, like
Yes.
when I invite all your listeners to go to my site. It's free. You go to the home page, you scroll down, there's like a very modern looking green horoscope wheel, and it says do your birth chart. And you go in there, you pick Placidus Tropical. Whole house system is only for people who don't know their birth sign, a birth time. And you put in the city and the time and so forth. And then it says click here, and you get your chart, and you also get a simple interpretation, which only runs 4 pages. For me, that's a little ka-choo, a little sneeze. But you have it, you can even laminate it. And then when I say, are you born 8 degrees Pisces or 29 degrees Virgo or something, you're going to know, and you're going to get so much more out of my forecast than if you're just reading it casually. It's okay, you can. And then in that case, let's say you don't want to look anything up, you're too busy, you're working at your job, then just watch what happens the week of the eclipse. But let me show you how eclipses work. In the period that Donald Trump was president the first time, there was an eclipse on the 4th of July. Nothing happened. Okay, we have some qualifiers. If nothing happens, sometimes an eclipse, because we work with bell curves,
Yeah.
can be felt 1 month earlier. So that would have been June 4th,
Yeah,
plus
June.
or minus 5 days, or August 4th. Nothing happened. Nothing was going on. Then you look for Saturn. Is he going over the degrees of the eclipse anytime soon? Well, with 9/11, Saturn was. But in the year that Donald Trump was president, Saturn was too far away. Well, then you look for Mars, because Mars is the little fireman with the spear. And it's almost like the eclipse makes a cigarette burn in the sky, and little Mars comes running over and picks the scab off. But Mars was not in Cancer, but he was coming into Capricorn during 9/11 in the week of September 8th. And I said, oh boy, September 8th is going to be mammoth in 2001. And that's when we had 9/11.
Oh.
So now an eclipse will repeat every 19 years.
Yeah.
So here I'm seeing another eclipse on the 4th of July, and I'm thinking, oh gosh. Well, nothing happened a month before or a month after. Mars was too far away, not even close. And it wasn't in opposition either. Saturn, too far away, not even close. There was only one more qualifier, the Sun opposition, July 4th, plus or minus 4 days. January 4th of the following year. What year was the January 6th thing? It was the Sun opposite. It was triggered with that storming of the Capitol. And when you have an eclipse triggering an event, and remember, 9/11 was enemy from outside coming in. And now we had the opposite, because everything in astrology is symmetrical. Now we had the enemy from within, and the storming of Congress. And, it was a horrible day,
Wow.
a shocking day. So you have to watch these eclipses
Yeah.
because they really tell a story. But 90% of them will develop a story that week. And it did for me this week and many people. But remember, Jupiter was really good with that eclipse.
That's the
And
one
that meant
that was
whatever is happening is in your favor. So don't complain, don't whine, don't say, oh, this is the end of the world, because it's moving you into a better place. Now, the next one has Saturn very strong, which means you're ready to step up, take on more responsibility, but that also gives you more influence, more power, more voice, more ability to be creative.
Yeah.
So there is a mission to keep us moving and to take on more.
It's also
Everything is about growth, always.
It's also at 0 degrees, this upcoming one on September 21st, which is like a fated degree.
Well, it's 29 degrees of Virgo, not yet Libra.
Okay.
So this one that we just had was mild and it was actually helpful, correct?
Well, it wasn't mild for me.
Oh,
It was a
Because I'm going to
culmination.
need major surgery, which I didn't know until
I
this
had to have
afternoon.
surgery, so I found out I have to have surgery. And I said, oh, because of Virgo, of course,
Yeah, Virgo is the medical.
Yes.
Well, I even wrote that different signs would have to watch their health and go to a doctor. Don't slough it off and say, oh, it's nothing. Just check it out. It may be nothing. But watch what you hear at eclipse time. Now, in terms of the degrees, you were asking about the decans.
Well, yes, that's one topic I wanted to get into. Well, it's a two-part question. The first question, before I get to decans, is someone said that 29 degrees and 0 degrees are like the most fated degree points. Is that true, and why?
Of a cardinal sign.
Oh.
If you have 0 or 1 degree of Libra, Aries, Cancer, or Capricorn, it corresponds with the points on a compass, north, south, east, west. Remember, we have the Tropic of Cancer, we have the Tropic of Capricorn. This lines up with that. And those people are the movers and shakers of our world. They are leaders. And they call that the Aries point. It's a misnomer because not only can Aries have it, so can Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, but we call it the Aries point. And you see that in a chart, even if a planet you're born with has, I don't have any of those, but my daughter has 0 degrees Libra rising. And when she was born, I'm like, whoa, I have a little pepper pot here. And she has become a leader in her circles. Yeah.
Speaking of these,
Well, we have 1 degree in Sagittarius rising.
yeah, so I have made
In a mutable sign, there are different.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There are different critical degrees. Now I'm going to say something really controversial, and people will write you letters. I don't like the Sabian symbols. I think they're what gives astrology a bad name. I think it was Dan Reuter made them up in his psychic way. And I think any astrologer who says they're psychic, you run away from because they don't want to do the math.
I agree. They all are saying that now.
They are, yeah, all on TikTok, all of them there, yeah.
Yeah.
And
what are they saying? Sabian symbols?
No, they're all saying they're psychic now. They never said it before.
Oh.
All of a sudden everyone's a psychic.
And they're walking around with tarot cards,
I know it is quite annoying, choose your lane. And quite honestly, I only listen to you. You're the
thank you. I'm not on TikTok because of the danger. If you want to be on TikTok, you should get a separate phone and not have your banking information or anything on it.
Yeah.
That's what all the senators have done. Everybody in Congress, Biden was on TikTok. I'm sure Mondani, who's running for mayor, is on TikTok. But you should have it as a standalone, not with your private information.
I think you're right.
Because, I go to China. I love the Chinese people so much, but I just feel the algorithm of TikTok is dangerous. So I am not on it. I'm on Twitter, which is X.
Yeah, you love Twitter.
I'm on Facebook and
Instagram.
Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky and Discord.
I find that everyone on Facebook is cranky.
I
Oh yeah.
They're
I
so
But people
cranky.
haven't moved off Facebook. That's
No,
the
and
thing.
they're so critical. I think they're all old and cranky. I'm
Well, it's easy to get cranky after you go to the grocery store, so I'll give them a pass.
no, wait, I'm a little nervous. Wait, so I'm 11 degrees, my sun in Aries in the fourth
Well, that's why
house.
you're a little angel, that 11.
Oh.
Oh,
It's so funny.
still choking.
April and I are both 1 degree Sagittarius rising. So doesn't that
Boy,
mean
do
you're
you
both,
get along.
yeah, it doesn't that mean you're both very true to your sign if you're
And my Jupiter is 28 degrees Scorpio, very, very close to your rising. It's like
Oh,
it's an out of sign conjunction.
that's why we all get along.
yeah.
We have fun when we go out.
Yes, it's so pleasant. It's just like it's nice fun. And that's exactly me. We'll love to have dinner. And we found another partner and sit for hours and
Yes.
talk.
Yeah. We always do that. 29 degrees. What's that? Is that
Well, there's some controversy about it.
that's why I'm asking that. Yeah.
My mother would tell me it's the degree of weeping, but my daughter is 29 degrees Aries and she has a wonderful life. She's won 6 Emmys. So for Carpool Karaoke when she was with James Corden as his main producer. I think, look, even with, you've heard of a planet in its detriment or its fall and so forth.
Well,
You've got to be so careful. Does it affect you? Maybe 1%.
okay.
And people are interpreting it like it's 75%. I have Mercury in its detriment and I've written 19 books. So it hasn't. Now it is true. I was in the hospital during high school. I had to teach myself to write. I had to teach myself grammar. So it is true that maybe a planet in its detriment, you have to work a little harder. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't stop you.
The one thing is like a lot of people in entertainment have 29-degree Leo somewhere in their chart.
Oh, well, any Leo, if you're in entertainment, is a good thing.
Oh,
As
good.
a matter of fact, you need some Leo if you're going to be in entertainment.
All right, that's me.
A lot of people have like 29-degree Leo at like a different part of their chart. Like I have 29-degree Leo in my midheaven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you should Google it. 29th degree of a fixed sign. I would Google that and see what comes up. I Googled something. Pluto and Uranus are very friendly right now. They're within a degree of perfection. They will reach perfection next year, July 20th. And since we haven't had this aspect in 37 years,
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe I should look up and see what other people are saying, in verified sites. And astrologers always look back to the last time it occurred. It was when Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini came to power.
And that's next summer.
Well, no, we're already feeling it. It's within 1 degree. We're splitting hairs. And there is a love and an admiration of strong men and dictators and authoritative people. We want daddy with the big stick. I don't.
But wait, you said it's symmetrical, so doesn't it change?
No, it's got to move slowly away. It will peak it's actually July 18th next year. And then it'll start coming down the mountain. But Pluto is the slowest moving planet we have in our solar system. It takes 248 years to go around the sun. So it's like watching molasses drip from a tree. And Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sun. So these are that's why we haven't had this aspect in our lifetime. And there's good things from it too. You can come to new understanding. Your brother-in-law and you who have different political views might be able to find some common ground. And it's an enlightening thing, but this is not the only aspect going on. Pluto is back to where it was when we had the American Revolution and the French Revolution.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's why we're in a fighting mood. And because it moves slowly, it takes forever to get
Very interesting.
at it. But it's almost like we just dumped everything we believed in on the table, picked it apart. And now if we really believe in democracy, we have to put it back together. But in life, you will be tested. How much do you love the city you live in? How much do you love your marriage? How much do you love your job? How much do you love your family? What are you willing to do for your city, for your job, for whomever? And right now we're being asked, how much do we love democracy? And how much are we willing to give of ourselves? And when you're looking at the History Channel and all that we have gone through to fight for democracy, I mean, I, for one, believe very much in it. But people have different points of view. And I actually have friends where I can talk to. And even I say, oh, you're never going to get me off into your camp on that one. But I'm interested in this other thing you said, and let's explore that a little bit more. You don't have to fight, is my point of view. I have a friend that he is so far off the beam from me that we laugh about it. We say, we're not going to talk about any politics. And I admire him for all the other things he does. And he's always been very loyal. And I really like him.
That's how people need to be. Like, I feel like the pandemic is what made people
Oh,
polarizing politically. And I feel like people need to go back to accepting that we may not agree on certain things, but if you're good to me and I'm good to you, then
yeah.
let's have a peaceful relationship.
The thing is, politics are very glued to your values.
Yeah, that is the one.
How do we treat an immigrant?
Yeah.
And is it okay to, I mean, it bothers me that they're wearing masks and grabbing people, because my own housekeeper is from Haiti. She is an American citizen and she carries her passport wherever she goes, but she can't put it in her purse because she's afraid someone will steal her purse. So she has to hide it somewhere else on her. But no one leaves the house without their papers anymore. And I said, well, how's your neighborhood, Rosita? And she said, no one leaves the house. They're terrified of leaving the house. And that.
Yeah.
I feel sorry about that. And I hope that changes, because not everybody's the bad guy. There are bad guys, and of course, nobody wants them around, but let's treat the good guys with the respect that we would want for ourselves,
You had touched on something earlier in the conversation. You had said, like, just because, like, you could have two people of the same sign, but they could be completely opposite individuals. And that
because no one will ever have your chart.
Well,
There's
yeah,
8 planets plus the sun and moon.
But that's what made me think of Decans. So a topic people are not educated enough on is Decans. Each zodiac sign has 3 Decans.
You take the sign, it's 30 days.
Yeah.
10 days each one. Now, let's take, give me a sign.
Me, Pisces.
Okay, Pisces. Have you ever noticed how insanely creative the February Pisces are? Those are the first 10 degrees.
They're also more passive aggressive.
Well, Steve Jobs was born February 24th. Gloria Vanderbilt, February 20th. They're very creative. They are what we call Pisces. There's another layer of Pisces over them. The next group, what comes after Pisces, July, is Cancer. So they have a layer of Cancer over them. So they are very good to their family. They have that Pisces giving quality and compassion, People always want to talk to a Pisces when they're feeling upset. Pisces will listen
Yeah.
patiently. They will never rush them. They will never dismiss it. They'll never say, oh, it'll be fine in the morning. They would never, never say anything like that. No, they'll listen, they'll ask questions, they'll be with you. And they have that layer of Cancer, that loving, mothering or fathering quality. And the last group from March 10th, well, maybe from the 15th, sorry,
I think it is March.
no, from the 10th to the 20th,
Yeah.
have a layer of Scorpio over them. So it always goes in the order of the signs. So let's say we take Scorpio. Scorpio are the ones born in October. The first 10 days of November, they are Scorpio Pisces, because that comes after November comes March, and then the next one would be Cancer. So it's a coloring, it's like a watercolor wash. It gives it some tonal qualities, but it's not like a dump truck. I think the biggest problem you get when you're a student just learning is to overemphasize different qualities. But it does give you some insight of, there's some more, it shows you some of the delicate gifts that person has gotten. Now, let's see, my daughter's born April 19th. So the first Aries is Aries.
That's
The
me.
second Aries, oh, you're born in
April 1st. So.
April 1st.
April 1st. Yeah, your first 10 days. And then the next person would be an Aries Leo.
Oh.
Right, because that comes next. And then the third one would be Aries Sagittarius, very philosophical and very interested in publishing and broadcasting, and she works in television.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, it shows up, actually, now that I think about it, it does show up.
That's why I asked it, because I've noticed like you could have someone of the same sign, but they're completely different in nature. And I know, even just using myself as an example, of a few years ago, I found out that I had the Scorpio Decan, and it made so much sense because
Oh my God.
Good with business.
I feel like I have difficulty getting along with February Pisces because
Really?
their nature, it's not that I have difficulty, I get along with them, trust me. I mean, I've dated some, but the point is I feel like they're not as direct. They're more wishy-washy. I feel like they're
You can't say that about everybody,
No,
but
but
they're
from my
quieter
experience.
and they like to
Yeah.
focus on their creativity. Mhm.
Well, you know, it's funny, Will. I always said to him, sometimes I'll be talking when he's really passionate about something he's speaking about. He gets such an intense look on his face. I said, that's the look of a Scorpio.
She did say that, yeah. So you've said that many times, and it's
Yes.
ironic because that's like my
Oh my God, now it makes sense. He has
Yeah.
that look of a Scorpio. You know, Scorpios get that intense look on their face.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now that makes sense. Okay, we're learning so much today, people.
I know we are. And it really is true because like I'll meet people from like any like sign, and like say Tauruses, for example. I get along with May Tauruses really well. And I have friends that are Tauruses that their birthdays are around that same week or what have you. But like
Well, that's interesting because a May Taurus, remember, first is Taurus, and then the next one to come is Virgo. And Virgo is your sign of partnership for Pisces. And then the later Tauruses have the layer of Capricorn. They're really good with money. They're probably your broker, your banker. And they're the ones that are making the stocks go up, and bless their hearts, Right.
I've always heard of the Decans, but it's never been explained like this.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. It's a shading. It's lovely.
It is.
And it gives you some insight.
Yeah, but it's never explained this way. This is why these people cannot watch the TikTokers. I hate saying this.
No, it's really
You know,
Well, my sister once said to me, "You got a good profession." I said, Oh, well, thank you. I'm surprised you said that. She said the older you get, the better you get. You could see that the light bulb was going over her head. I said, well, that is true.
Mm.
Well, practice makes perfect, right? The more you practice, the better it is in life. And I am a better astrologer than I was even 10 years ago because you've seen more cycles, but you must ask for feedback. And on my new show, Fireside, where people come to me with a question and I answer them in real time, just like we're doing.
We've watched.
And
Yeah.
I say, come back in 2 months and let's review what happened. And look, I can be wrong. Let's hear what happened. I want to know. And it's so much more interesting that way, don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And one,
But we've watched the show. We watched you.
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
We love
Yeah,
it.
if people are interested, just go to astrologyzone.com and see that picture of me with sitting at the table with my yellow sweater, and just click it and it explains it. There's a
I told
video.
some of my celebrity friends over the weekend about your show on Fireside. So,
I'm really enjoying it, April. And
yeah,
we make sure every sign gets covered. And I give 8 minutes to each person.
I know. I was watching. I'm like, that's a big
yeah,
deal.
that is, yeah.
And you have emojis where you can send hugs to someone or a thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, you can say whatever you like.
It becomes a family. Everyone's cheering each other on.
Yeah. I want a safe, nice place where people can feel open. I said to the group, you don't have to give your real name. If you're shy, give a different name, but you have to tell me your real birthday. And please tell me where you live. I mean, I want to know. It's kind of interesting if you're in Singapore or Colorado Springs or wherever you are, it's kind of fun. So for that show, we had a lot of international people, and I'm trying to span so many time zones. This is hard. So the next one is Saturday, September 13th at 2 p.m. ET, New York time.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit earlier in LA and not so late in London that they have to set their alarm clock at 3 a.m. or anything like that. And people have been doing that. So I want to try to shake it up and ask the group what's their happy time.
We've heard some of the people that were international that were on, that
Yeah,
were for. So
there were
yeah.
so many that were like on from all over.
All different ages. You had the woman with the little newborn baby, and then you had that retired couple. It was a very interesting question. I want to sell the house and all the land, and my husband only wants to sell part of the land, and we want to keep the house. And what do we do? And I felt this eclipse coming up on September 21st was going to give them the answer. And they said, so far, I said, what kind of bids are you getting? They said, nobody asks for half. I said, all right, but you just started, right? Yeah, we only started a month ago. I said, give it more time. That eclipse was hitting her home sector right on the nose. So I said, it's too early. Let the eclipse speak and listen to its message, and then come back to me. I want to hear what happens. But I think you will be able to sell half the land, because she said, if we sell the whole kit and caboodle, I'll have to get a new mortgage. The mortgage rates are high right now. I don't know. We're in our 70s. Do we really want to go through all that? So I could understand their dilemma. I could. And I think they were going a little too fast. Slow down. When in doubt, do nothing, like they say. And stop, look, and listen, but an eclipse will always help you with information you didn't have before. And don't be too quick to say it's a good eclipse or a bad eclipse, because all eclipses have a second act. More information streams in a little bit, like a week or two later. So you'll get a better picture of what's going on.
Well, that's like this series of eclipses. What you were saying was like, things come to a culmination right now with this first one. And then by the second one, you have your answer and know what way you're going to go.
You'll get real clarity on new moons.
Yeah.
And full moons make you nostalgic. All eclipses make you feel the passage of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like, you go to your best friend's wedding and you see her walking down the aisle, and our friendship is changing now. She's reaching a new stage. Maybe she's been telling you she wants a baby. You don't have a baby, you're single. It's going to be harder to be as close as you once were.
Yeah.
And you feel it and you're happy for her, but you're wistful.
But I do feel that's, I mean, this is a personal topic, so I don't want to spend too long on it. But you raised a good point. But I feel like they say people change when they get into relationships or when they have kids or things of that nature. I think it depends on
Not
the person.
necessarily. I have best friends that
Yeah. I
don't
think
have any kids.
like if
Yeah.
someone wants to see you, they'll make time for you. That's what it
Now, especially in a cosmopolitan center like New York, where we have we have friends of all different lifestyles. So, you know, but if you live in a community where everybody's married with children, it might be different, I think.
we covered a lot of topics today.
We did. We covered the whole waterfront.
We really did. You did spark one question when we were talking about astrology misinformation. This is one big piece of astrology information that I kind of want you to say, is it true or not true? So, and April knows some of these people we've talked and we've discussed
Yes.
about.
We go into deep
Some of the
discussions
biggest
about this.
TikTok astrologers say, you know how you say
Doing
that
wrong.
if you have 3 or more planets in a sign, that's considered a stellium.
Yeah.
Well, they've been saying lately it's only a stellium if it's within tight degrees of one another.
They should be tight degrees. They should be. I
But
agree.
if it's more than 8 degrees, isn't that still a stellium at the end of the day?
8 is the fringe, but yes, it's not like 20 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, like say if you have like 3
8
planets,
is the outermost to be an area of significance. I would include that. Yes. Mhm.
but if it's say a little bit more, say one planet's at 4 degrees, one is at 19 degrees, one is at 15 degrees, that's
Something like
still
that in the 10th house. I have 3 planets.
like even if they're all not within like a tight degree aspect, they're
Yeah,
still
yeah, I
big
agree.
house, right?
No, it's a stellium if you have 3. It's like playing cards and you have 3 aces or 4 clubs or something. Yeah, and no, it's a good thing. It means prominence and leadership,
Okay. All right.
especially in the house that it's
That it's
found in.
yeah.
Where do you have it?
I have 3 stelliums.
You have 3 stelliums.
Yeah, I have 3 planets.
Wow, April, we have a powerhouse here.
I know.
I have
Wow.
I
three in
never knew this, Will.
3 in Gemini, 3 in Capricorn, and 3 in Pisces.
Wow. Wow. And that's water, earth, air. Fantastic. The earth will make you money, especially in Capricorn. The Pisces is the inquisitive philosopher, and the Gemini is the reporter extraordinaire who's, by George, going to find the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And even my North Node is in Pisces. So my chart is pretty consistent.
Ooh, that is the philosopher. My North Node is in Gemini.
I don't
Oh, nice.
understand stelliums. I don't understand. Like,
So
if-
stellium,
You have 3 planets in one sign in your natal chart.
if you have 3 or
Oh.
more planets in like the same sign in like your chart, like is there any sign that like you have a lot of planets in your chart? If you could, I'm trying to recall your chart. I can't.
I know. I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm trying to look at it and
I
see.
do think you may have a stellium in Aquarius because I remember looking at April's chart and I
Yeah.
picked up on that.
I wouldn't be surprised. She's so good at mysteries and unusual topics, and that's Aquarius.
Yeah. We'll have to check it later.
Yeah. But this has
At
been
our dinner in that mystery restaurant.
at our dinner. Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah, we should do that on like a Sunday soon.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're thinking of this Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or even next Sunday or the following Sunday.
Well, I can't, I'm moving on the 29th of this
Oh.
month.
Oh,
I'm
you're
moving back to my apartment. I am going through a really hard time. I have new appreciation for all my readers who have ever moved. You know, you can actually Google what are the 10 biggest stressors in life. And it's definitely up there in the top 5, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard
But I'm
because,
happy you'll be settled again.
well, yes and no. The contractors went ahead and built closets without asking me. And some of them are smaller than they were before.
That doesn't make sense. We're in New York. We need,
I know.
yeah.
And it means I'll have to rotate my clothes spring and summer, like we used to do when we were little.
Yes, yeah.
You would put your mother would have a big trunk and she would iron everything and she'd put mothballs in.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going back to that, but it looks like I may not have a choice. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have to see. Because New York has such cold weather, the only way psychologically you can get through winter is to buy several winter coats. So you're not wearing the same coat day after day after day for 8 months.
Yeah.
So I have different color coats, and I have coats I'd like to wear at night, like a white coat, as opposed to, I wouldn't wear a white coat in New York during the day. It wouldn't stay white very long. But at night, it's nice. And
Well,
it's
the big
bright.
colors are brown and wine colors. It's
Mhm.
so rich, like looking. I'm like,
Very nice.
so ready for the autumn and
Yes.
winter with all these rich colors.
Yes. It was a hard summer because we had a lot of polluted, hot air. It was hard. Yeah. They told us to stay home. We did. When I'm working on Astrology Zone, each sign takes at least 7 hours. And sometimes a sign like Scorpio last month took 2 days. I don't have 2 days, but yet I will never send it before it's ready. And I always ask myself, is it interesting? Does the reader say, why should I listen to you? Why does it matter? I feel like a lawyer. I have to show you why it matters, but do it in an interesting, soft, friendly way, show you my reasoning why you should listen to me. And have I used different words? I don't want to be writing the same thing over and over. I want to use new vocabulary and keep it vibrant. And have I been happy enough? If I'm having a hard day, it's not the reader's fault. And I have to be absolutely sure that doesn't pierce the veil. I have to keep those frustrating feelings down and I have to dispel them, or
Yes.
it will ruin the soup. It'll sour the soup.
I've seen that. If somebody was going through a hard time, it showed in their work.
Yeah.
I once said to a writer, "Are you having a terrible time?" She said, "How did you know?" It was like a billboard in Times Square. I have seen astrologers only talk about the bad aspects. I said, you have Jupiter conjunct the sun in that month. You have Venus and Mars playing tag with each other. You have all these beautiful aspects, but you didn't talk about any of those, just the really hard ones. Why?
A lot
I
of them.
agree.
She didn't even notice she was doing it. And that's a human situation that I have to be careful. And have I overemphasized a difficult aspect? And I have been saying that November is tough. And I'm not happy about November. And November is, we all want to enjoy Thanksgiving and travel. And I'm not traveling on
For all
Thanksgiving.
signs.
I'm waiting until December to travel, because it's, if people have my app, Astrology Zone Horoscopes on Apple and Google Play, not only should you read the dailies,
Yeah.
which I have, you should go third one down on the hamburger stack, the menu, key dates, and you can go all the way through the year. And if you're trying to buy an air ticket in December, you can see what good days are. And if it says Jupiter trine the sun, you don't know what that means. You touch the screen and down comes a paragraph of information. I'm hoping people know that when they touch the screen, down comes the information right there instantly. So they can choose.
Is the monthly.
But yeah, well, of course, I love it too. And Mercury is going to be retrograde all through November, so we're going to have a lot of problems with people getting back and forth on Thanksgiving. And it is the biggest travel.
Yes.
What's going on with aviation right now? Every night on the news, people are going down those slides
Yeah.
and there's wheels falling off and people screaming and upsetting other passengers. Ever since the head of the FAA got fired, and of course, Boeing has had its nightmares, and United keeps showing up in the news too because they only use Boeing jets. I mean, Uranus going into Gemini is unusual situations with aviation. I'm just hoping it starts to tamp down and get more under control because it's so often that it's weird. We never used to have an aviation story, but they did fire all the, when they did Doge, they fired a lot of air traffic controllers. Why? I have no idea. We need more. We don't need less. And they fired the management, and that could be a reason, or maybe someone listening might say, well, no, that's not the reason. So, okay, I'm open. But I do notice more stories, and it's concerning. I'm not afraid to fly. I love to fly. It's my favorite place to be. I love it. When they say, put your computer away, we're landing. I'm like, can we stay up here just a little bit longer, maybe another hour?
Yeah.
I
Well,
love it.
maybe
And
people.
I'm talking New York, LA, which is a long trip, but can we
Wait.
stay a little longer,
I was upset on my flight going because I couldn't access the Wi-Fi and
Oh,
reading my monthly from you.
well,
And
you
it's
know what? Well,
at
you
one
might have been
spot.
able to read it on your app on the phone because it takes less juice.
Yeah, it was on
But
my app.
what I found, one steward attendant told me that they have a certain amount of plugs,
Oh,
and that, let's say it's 20, and if all the people are using Wi-Fi, and if they're watching movies on Wi-Fi, oh my gosh, it's taking so much juice. She said to me, always get on right away and get your spot on Wi-Fi if you need it on the flight.
Mm.
A lot of people sleep and they don't care, but I care. I never sleep on flights, never.
it's
I
hard.
like to
I
be
like
awake.
to sleep on flights. I'm not a big fan of flying, but
Oh, I'd rather sleep. I went to sleep the second on the way home. I'm like, I'm sleeping. That'd wake me up. I'm like,
Talking about sleep, something occurred to me today. You and I were talking that I bought two new mattresses today.
oh yeah, she did.
Expensive ones, my gosh, I couldn't believe the price of mattresses have skyrocketed. But Pisces, full moon, eclipse, Pisces rules sleep.
That's funny you said that because
And it's a double-bodied sign, two fishes, and I
I've been
bought
sleeping a lot.
one for the guest room and one for me. Well, I needed to. Every 10 years, they tell you to throw out your mattress, and I had mine for 12. So I I had thrown them out when I had to move, and now I'm moving back, so I better have a bed. So I went to Bloomingdale's and laid down on all the different mattresses, and the lady helped me and explained. But Pisces will sleep. We think, oh, it's just random. I just happened to buy mattresses. No, it was that full moon. No, nothing is random in astrology.
but is that affecting dreams? Because I've been having
Yeah.
bizarre dreams.
Oh, really? You dream a lot, though, April. You told me that. And you have vivid dreams. I have them less. Well, I don't sleep that long. I only sleep 5 hours. So,
Yeah.
and I never use an alarm, and I just wake up. But I like dreams. I enjoy dreams.
Yeah.
Or
I do have very vivid
you
dreams.
should write them down.
Yeah. I mean, I
They
can't
can
really,
inform your stories.
I love to paint. So I used to go into these contests when I was younger. But one time I was a kid, I had a dream that I was flying on a unicorn with
Oh,
a paintbrush and I was painting the sky.
Oh my
Making the
gosh.
sky more vibrant. So
What a
actually, when I
beautiful
woke up,
dream.
I painted that, so I said, because it was such a great dream. I'm like, this is so much fun. And they say that you don't dream in color, but I always dream in color.
No, I dream in color.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
that's
too.
like, I'm like, who said that? Like that's bizarre to me.
But they do say that if someone has passed, is not alive anymore, relatives say, and you dream of them, they 99% of the time will not talk in your dream, but they'll make gestures, they'll
Yeah.
smile, or they'll show you how they feel by their expression, and they'll communicate. And you can talk to them like, are you here to make sure we're taking good care of mom?
Yeah.
My father nodded yes. And I said, oh, we are. Can you? Yes, Janet and I are coordinating and we take her to the doctor and we do everything right. Can you? And I had this dream that I was preparing Thanksgiving dinner and I was shocked to see my father in the kitchen. And I said, oh, you came. We're talking about my mom. And then I said, can you stay? And he goes, and I said, well, I'm grateful you came. I'm so happy to see you. And then he vanished. And he was wearing his little plaid shirt and his sweater with the zipper and his little newsboy cap like he would wear on a Sunday. And there he was. And I was grateful and I never forget that dream.
Yeah, that's
No.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful dream.
And my family was helping me in the kitchen, all his sisters and brothers, and we're getting the turkey out, and the string beans are ready, and and somebody's mixing the salad with the vinegar and oil, and I'm like, oh, you could sit down. No,
Yeah.
no,
But it's nice that he had the
Yeah.
visit.
yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Sometimes when somebody's passed and you haven't dreamed of them, it's upsetting. Like, why haven't you come to me?
Yes.
But I once sat at the edge of the bed and I said, Mom, you never came to me. You never came, and I miss you so much. And tonight is the night. You have to come to me. And I had one of the most vivid dreams I'll ever have. I'm in the country, in a meadow, going toward a forest, and I'm wearing a Lily Pulitzer dress, and the print is blue and white print, which is what your grandmother's dishes were and my grandmother's did, those blue and white
Yeah.
china. And I'm on a bicycle, and there are two poles about 18 inches high, and there are mirrors going all different directions. It reminded me of Alice in Wonderland with the different arrows. Now, one thing I have to tell you before I tell you anything else is that I look exactly like my mother. In black and white, we are identical. But in color, I mean, I have hazel eyes, she has blue eyes. I have much darker brown hair, and she was more chestnut. But otherwise, in black and white, we were identical. And we even have very similar personality. So I'm pedaling, and as I'm pedaling and the soft wind is blowing and it's such a beautiful day, and the dirt road reminds me of my grandmother's road, my mother's mother, I see in the mirror as I'm going they're little like a small iPhone mirror, like rectangular but small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're on these two poles in different, and I can see part of my ear, an eyebrow, the upper part of my lip. I can see pieces of my face. And all of a sudden I hear my mother's voice, and it's coming over me from the sky. She said, I don't need to come to you, Susan. I'm with you wherever you go. I'm inside you. Look in the mirror. And that was it.
Oh,
And I woke up.
I'm gonna tear up. That's so beautiful.
It helped me so much.
Yeah.
And it was the only dream I ever had with my mom in it. She died in 2012, September 27th. And that was the night I got upset with her, and she must have heard me. and 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 I think she is inside me. I hear her voice all the time because she taught me astrology.
Yeah.
So sometimes write down those beautiful dreams you have, April.
Yeah, you
I
should.
think it might be, it might take time looking back to understand what they were about at the time. You know what I mean? I have a picture window in my living room, and I live in what we call a tower, where there are I live in a high rise, and there are four towers, and the other two are across the street. But I look over the city, I can see south, and it's a beautiful view. And I'm standing by the window, and all of a sudden a plane comes in and goes right into one of the towers, and it pulverizes the other tower across the street, which is right in front of me. It's a little tiny street. It's not the avenue, it's the tiny little street right in front of me. And I'm screaming. And I wake up, and I'm sitting up screaming in real life. The dream was so real, and I couldn't make any sense out of it.
Yeah,
9/11 happened months later.
that's crazy.
But I say to myself, what good is a prophetic dream if you can't save people?
Yeah. Or if you don't figure it out until it happens. That's funny you mentioned that because those are the type of dreams I have where I'll dream of a situation and then it'll play out in real life, either in my own life or sometimes in the lives of those around me.
You're very plugged in, Will.
And I'm like,
Very much.
it doesn't really click until it starts happening. And I'm like, oh shit, I actually dreamed of this.
Yes. Well, you know what they said. You know me and the History Channel, because it's the only thing that's brand new shows. Well, first of all, they were talking about Abraham Lincoln. I said, that was a shock to the nation. I'm going to look that up because they give you the date. And there was an eclipse right then in Aries. And that's what took him away. But he had a dream several nights before that incident where he was shot. And he's walking by the rotunda, and there's a soldier there. And he said, why are so many people streaming into the rotunda? What's going on? He said, the president's been shot and he's dead. And he said, what president? And the man said, Abraham Lincoln. And it rattled him, and he woke up and he told friends about it. It upset him.
Yeah.
And his wife was having seances in the White House because she was trying to get in touch with their boy who had died. I don't know if he was a soldier and died. I don't know the story about Abraham Lincoln's son, but they did say Mary Lincoln did have seances and that Abraham came to one.
Oh, wow.
Well, they were so heartbroken about losing their boy.
Oh, sure.
But he had a prophetic dream right before he died, like a day or two before. And there was an eclipse then too. Mamma mia, right?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
But it showed that he had a spiritual side, and that's the side we don't know about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you see the West with Kevin Costner, I always thought the U.S. was the U.S. We signed the Declaration, that's pretty much it. But we had the Spaniards in Texas, we had the Mexicans owning California, we had Napoleon in Louisiana, and we had the Brits up in Canada ready to snatch whatever they could. And all these people were trying to grab land, and it's a miracle we kept it all together. When you see the layout, they're trying to get ready for the 250th and to remind us of what we learned in school, but can't remember a stick of it anymore.
No.
And there it is. How breathtaking. And what one thing really helped get the population all the way from sea to shining sea was the gold rush. If we didn't have the gold rush, we might have stopped by the Mississippi, but the lure of gold was so strong that it just pulled everybody out. And then Mexico said, we don't want Canada. You want it? You won the war. Not Canada, California. We'll give you California. Do you want it? And Napoleon said, I belong in Europe. I'll sell you Louisiana for 15 million. And so, okay, we'll take it. And I mean, the way we put the states together was so breathtaking. I really want people to watch this because it'll get us ready for our anniversary next year. And we're so lucky to live through our 250th. We're such
Yeah.
babies. Europe is like centuries and
Yes.
Yeah.
old, and we're like this little baby at
We're
200.
we're the Aries
Yeah.
of the world.
Well,
No, actually Cancer, right? Wait, would it be Cancer? What is the United States Cancer?
the United
Yes.
States is
United States.
Cancer,
Yeah.
and it's having its emerald year.
Because it's
So
for
I think
Jupiter.
Oh, that's right.
we
Yes.
can count on Jupiter helping our economy until the end of June. Now, after that, it's like, well, then it goes into the second house of Cancer's chart, which is money, when it goes into Leo. So I think we have a good run, but there's a part of me that thinks we're dancing on the Titanic. We're dressed up, there's perfume and drinking champagne, but in an hour and a half, the ship's going down. I'm a little worried. I hope everything stays as good as it is. The stock market is flying, and nobody can figure out exactly why.
Why? Yeah, at least it's fine.
What sign does the stock market represent?
I would say Capricorn or
Capricorn?
Scorpio or
Yeah.
Taurus.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the money signs.
Mm-hmm.
You would not believe how many questions I've gotten for you.
Oh, really? Do you have more questions?
So
Oh,
yeah, they keep
goodness.
on going. Look at it.
What are
I'm
people writing in?
yeah, so I just like I just want to see some of them are like we've covered some and some aren't necessarily
Wait,
it's
when did they write this in?
today.
Oh,
Because yeah,
I mean,
so
your readers are contributing questions. How bless their hearts.
yeah, no, they gave me some good ones today.
Give me an example.
So there's two ones I want you to go through real quick before we end. Do retrogrades affect people born during retrogrades differently? Say if someone was born with Mercury retrograde, would retrogrades affect them or any retrograde?
It kills me every time, and I'm born with Mercury retrograde.
Oh, so you're more effective if you have a retrograde planet
It
and
doesn't matter. Everybody feels it. But if you work in publishing or broadcasting, those are ruled by Mercury. And if you're a Gemini or Virgo, it's double, double, double.
okay, so I think what they're trying to say is say you have any planet and you were born with it retrograde. Once that planet retrogrades in real time, they'll be more affected in that.
No, 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 no. No, there's this myth that if you were born with Mercury retrograde, it doesn't affect you that much. I don't buy it. It affects me a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So whatever planets you
But
were
no, but if Jupiter's retrograde, no. It's more like if you have, let's say you have Saturn conjunct Venus. Every time that happens in transit, it triggers that and it echoes maybe an experience you had related to that aspect will come up again. Yes. But in terms of, I keep hearing, oh, if you were born with Mercury retrograde, oh, it's a breeze. No, it's not. And if you work in publishing or broadcasting, that is the sign, the industries that are ruled by Mercury. You have to be very deliberate and slow down and watch what you're doing because Mercury is a clever little Ralph the Wrecker.
yeah.
And he'll trip you up when you're not looking.
Now another one. If I met this is not me, by the way. This is
Yeah.
yeah. If I met someone during a lunar eclipse and a Mercury retrograde, can it last? Also, what about
Right. Some people meet someone and they had met them before and they didn't even remember that they had met at a party or something. That almost feels like destiny. My sister met her husband with a lunar eclipse, but Usually, if you meet a new person with Mercury retrograde, your communication styles are different. And communication is so important in a relationship. So you'd have to work harder to make sure that it stays clear.
And the same question they say, what about if they met during Venus retrograde?
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I figured that.
Oh, yeah, no. And no Botox. That's the most.
Yeah, I never
And
Botox.
Mars retrograde, Venus retrograde, the affection cools off and becomes like brother and sister or whatever, just siblings, I should say.
Mm.
And with Mars retrograde, the sex just dies.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not going to happen for a while.
Everyone
so-
check your Mars retrograde.
Exactly.
And when you got married, I'm not
That is true.
And people get married with Mars retrograde.
Oh my God.
You know what's so fun? I know of someone who has
I
their
think I know who you're talking about.
it's not the one you're thinking of. It's
All
someone,
right.
but they have their Saturn in Pisces and they're getting married while Saturn is retrograde in Pisces later.
No, that's all right. I don't mind that. Saturn gives a
Really?
longing for stability. And when Saturn retrogrades, he's a little weaker. Remember, Saturn is
No,
the
but I
tough love
getting
teacher.
married to your Saturn return. I thought you
Oh, Saturn return. Oh, that's a real longing for stability. Oh my gosh. At 28 and 56, yeah.
28, 56.
That's when you really, really want to get on with your life and start having something to show for it.
They say the reason I asked that is because they say you shouldn't get married before your first Saturn return completes. Because a lot of the times those relationships end in divorce by your Uranus opposition, which is late 30s, early 40s.
Well, no, Uranus opposition Uranus happens when you're between 40 and 42.
Yes.
It happens to everybody, it has nothing to do with Saturn. And that is when you become truly independent. And anything that's not working in your life spins off.
Usually
It is
everyone
divorce.
says that in their 40s, they feel more independent.
Yeah, there's a lot of divorces around that time period.
Yeah.
No, my father
So
had,
it does it adds up.
my father wasn't married yet to my mother, but I think she kept saying no. They dated 11 years, but then she said yes. And he was 40. He was working for his father in this beautiful Italian grocery store that Grandpa started. Had the olive oils, the prosciutto, the mozzarella, and the beautiful fruits, the camise pears, the Spanish melons,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just everything lovely. So his uncle was part of the business too. And one day a flatbed truck shows up in front of 2nd Avenue and 74th Street, where the store was in Manhattan. And the guy says, here, sign, here's all your lumber. And there was so much. Order any of this? Who ordered this? So the guy takes the bill of lading out and he said, my uncle, where were you supposed to bring this? Not here. Oh, Huntington, Long Island. And what's happening out there? He's building a house. And that revealed that my uncle had stolen so much money during the Depression, he had enough money to build a house. And had that man not showed up with the truck, the family would have never known it. And at that moment, my grandpa came out and my father told him what happened. And they never spoke to my uncle again. He threw him out of the business and he said, we are done. And what made it particularly heartbreaking is people were starving. And you had German and Irish and all different nationalities on the Upper East Side where the store was. It wasn't chic the way it is now. It was just, poor. And the people would come in, like the Irish would have, maybe 5 children, 6 children. And my father would say, what would you like? And they'd put the fruits and vegetables. And my father would say, here, let me get the tab. I'll write it down. And then when you can, you pay me. Here, well, let's put it in the bag. And my grandpa and my father were doing this for the whole neighborhood. They knew they would never get paid.
Mhm.
but these people were starving.
Yeah.
And here my uncle is stealing from the business when my
Building the
father and my
house.
grandpa are trying to help people.
I do want to get through some more of these just
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah. I didn't know if you were
I'm sorry. I'm enjoying these stories, but I know let's get down to business.
I didn't know if you were like going somewhere with that or in related to astrology.
No,
But
that's it.
No,
That's
she
it.
said, wait, I'm just gonna say the eclipse makes you reminisce. That's what she's doing.
Well, Uranus opposition Uranus. It's always sudden. Between 40 and 42, some people leave a city. Some people leave a marriage. Some people leave a job. Some people do a complete job switch. They leave their corporate job and they make cupcakes or whatever. You know, we hear about them.
Yes. Yeah.
It happens between 40 and 42. It's such a critical age. And of course, 28 is when you get down to brass tacks and you become an adult.
Yeah, yeah. Well, your Saturn return ranges between when you're 28 to 30. It depends upon when
Mostly 28.5 to 29. Not much more than that.
yeah, see, that's why I kind of tend to agree that I don't think it's a good idea to like either move in with someone or get married before that
I did, but I had a baby that year.
before
So
it finishes because
you have to do
So
something.
you know what?
but
And if you don't do anything, then you have to learn Saturn all over again at
Sense.
56, and you don't want that.
oh yeah, yeah.
Life crisis.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, quote, I have a surgery coming up middle of next month. Can eclipses have an effect on it? Unquote. Which that's a
What
good
day?
question.
What day is the surgery?
They didn't put their date, but that's a good question because could you
Well,
have
remember, you can feel
Oh,
it a month to the day later, plus or minus a few days. So if it's near the 7th or the 21st, yeah. But actually, I've already written October in terms of the
Wait a minute.
summaries.
what?
Are you okay?
I'm having surgery Tuesday. I need
It's all
surgery.
right.
I have a torn meniscus.
No, it's
Right.
okay. You're far enough away from the eclipse.
Okay, good.
No,
Susan,
but
as long as you say, 'cause I would have canceled.
October is a quiet little month. It's actually so quiet, it's boring. It has no sparkly little, wonderful little special days, little jewel-like days. But you know what? After you have an eclipse
I
month,
like that.
it's kind of nice to have a nice, boring, quiet month where you can set your own agenda.
Yeah, and just take a nice ride into like an upstate town, upstate.
Yeah, and pick apples and
Yeah. Well, we're going to
enjoy
be
the
doing that
fall
all
foliage.
October.
Yeah, wineries, apple picking, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're going to be out and about all over.
But those were just some last questions I wanted to get in. Thanks for answering those.
Oh, what a wonderful, you see, you're always so original and do so much
He
work
is. He's
before.
amazing.
So
Thank you.
impressed. Nobody covers the waterfront like you. Well, nobody. I just love you for that.
Oh, thank
And
you.
thank you. I always get excited when you invite me to come. It's always so much fun.
Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for joining. Everyone's been loving it. Yeah, everyone's been loving these. So I'll send Valerie a bunch of clips from these.
Oh, yeah. And we'll put it on my social media.
Yeah, yeah. And around holiday season, maybe you should come back.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
We'll look ahead.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
For my new apartment. Do you think I'll actually get there?
Yeah.
Well, I
But-
really, when the rug
show us your
disappeared
closets.
today, I have no rug and no table. I sent the rugs out to be cleaned, so I wouldn't have to give it to the mover, and then it's nice and clean when it goes to the new place. I am going to give away those rugs, but it takes 4 months to make a rug. There's a backup. Oh my God. And the table is going to get refinished, but it's upstairs right now where I'm moving to, but it's I'm going to be unsettled and displaced for a while, but it's okay. But I say to myself, am I really going to move? It's going to happen. And my little team says yes. They'll help me.
But I'm gonna stop the recording soon but I want you to stay on because we could talk about something personal. But real quick before I do that, April, did you have anything you wanted to ask that we didn't?
Well, I don't want to do your charts on public. I want to do it at the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Did you have any
that's fine.
astrology question before we cut the recording?
No, I think I wasn't prepared. I apologize because I was in
Yeah.
It feels like a Friday night, but it's
It
not.
does. It does.
Tuesday, we're
It
recording.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
but that was great. Like one thing I got to say, Susan, I love to listen to you give our horoscopes. I like to read the monthly horoscopes
Aw.
because everyone now is doom and gloom and they scare everyone. And like I said,
Well,
it's
they
like,
know fear will get more clicks, but I
yeah,
would never do
with
that.
you, it's a hug. I'm like reading my horoscope, even if it's not that great, something's gonna happen.
And I say,
I feel
you've
like,
been through it before, you're getting used to this, stuff
yeah.
like that.
Exactly. So thank you for that. That's why you are the only one I'm following.
the best astrologer out there. Well,
Oh
The
my goodness.
greatest in the world.
Oh.
well, we're all gonna stay on for a little bit, but
So what's the name of the restaurant?
oh wait, whoa,
Wait,
wait,
we gotta
wait,
stop
wait, wait.
recording.
Yeah, it's still recording. I'm just saying, we're gonna wrap up this recording right now. Susan, well, we're gonna stay on, but we're gonna wrap it off for you. But Susan will be back, maybe in October or November, and we could break down the holiday season, the Mars
Yes.
going into Sagittarius retrogrades, because it's a whole different episode.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining me today, and
Thank you.
you all enjoyed it, everyone.
Bye, everyone.